always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by Care Of, a subscription vitamin service where for a limited time only, if you go to takecareof.com and enter the promo code entertainment30, you will get 30% off of your first order. Again, that is takecareof.com and the promo code is entertainment and the number 30. Hello and welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. As I said, I am your host, Sarah. Did I say that? Well, hey, I am your host, Sarah, and I am happy to be with you. Hope you're having a great weekend. It is, for some people, a 3-day weekend, so hope you're enjoying that 3-day weekend and that you're having some decent weather to enjoy that 3-day weekend. So we are here, of course, to talk about some of the news that is going on in the entertainment world right now. We've got lots of stories. The first segment, we will talk about some entertainment news, celebrities, etc. Actually, it's pretty much all celebrities, but then the second segment we'll talk about some movie news, and the third segment we will talk about some music news. Now, this first segment in the celebrity news, we have two stories involving voice judges, although only one of them directly involves The Voice itself, the TV show The Voice. And this first story then is about Adam Levine, announcing that he is leaving The Voice after 8 years and 16 seasons. So he has been a staple on The Voice, he and Blake Shelton, from the beginning from the premiere of The Voice, and his relationship with Blake Shelton is bromance where they it's love-hate, because the brotherly part, they're always snapping at each other like they're brothers, but then they love each other. So Gwen Stefani will be back because she has been a judge before. She will be replacing him for season 17. It had actually been previously confirmed that he would be a coach on season 17, but now it will be Gwen Stefani instead. So definitely the end of an era, or at least a transition. I don't know if he ever plans to come back, although he did issue a statement saying it was time to move on. So that does sound as though he does not want to come back. Carson Daly did confirm the news on the Today Show on May 24th. Also then revealed that Gwen Stefani would be returning as a judge to replace Adam Levine. And he joked that many viewers will miss watching his frenemy relationship with Blake Shelton. So that is definitely a different he's been on forever. So the lineup for the judges for season 17 will be, as I said, Gwen Stefani, Blake is staying on, Kelly Clarkson will be on once again, and John Legend. So definitely a good panel of judges, but it's going to be very different. Adam Levine did win The Voice. Well, he didn't win. His contestants win. Let's just put it that way. Although he's the one that gets the judging award, thingamabobber, whatever they call that. So he had contestants that won The Voice only 3 times in his 16th season, which I thought that would be more. But and then he has struggled in the last 3 seasons to produce finalists. So. Yeah, he apparently even had, in season 15, he had 2 finalists in the bottom 3. So probably, I don't know, things happen, and we wish him all of the best. So I'm sure it's not like he doesn't have something to fall back on. So Gwen Stefani has already served as a voice judge on 3 prior seasons, 7, 9, and 12. She was a mentor during season 10. So she is no stranger to that big red chair. So we wish Adam Levine all the best, and know he's going to be fine. That kid's going to land on his feet. Speaking of voice judges, Kelly Clarkson is often in the news, and she was in the news again. She was scheduled to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the national anthem at the Indianapolis 500, which she did, but she almost had a face plant beforehand, so she was apparently wearing wedges, which actually are better for balance than some of the other spike-heeled shoes she could have been wearing. So May 26th, this was the 103rd racing of the Indianapolis 500, and she was asked to sing the national anthem, but she tripped. There was apparently a crack underneath the carpet. She did fall forward, but she also managed to catch herself, so she avoided a face plant. And then, because she's Kelly Clarkson, and Kelly Clarkson seems like she is a very cool person, someone that I would totally hang out with, if I ran in those circles, she got up, she raised her arms in the air and gave out a big woot because she had avoided face planting before singing the national anthem, which is great. I would have been super, super like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And maybe not have been able to shake it off or laugh it off as much. But Kelly Clarkson, seems to be, hey, this is me, and sometimes I'm klutzy, and I just avoided face planting, so let's celebrate. She was also very cool in... She's very good at responding to her fans when they are both positive and negative. In this case, there was a negative comment. Well, first there was positive because she, a Twitter user had a video of it and posted it to Twitter, and Kelly, of course, then responded gracefully, and she wrote, "Best part of my day is always revealing to people that might not know how utterly not cool I am. That damn crack was hidden by the carpet man." Then, unfortunately, someone was not so kind, and they went online to get on her about her performance and to be incredibly rude, as only trolls on the internet can do. What was even worse, as though it's bad, not bad, it's bad enough to go on and not even give constructive criticism, but just be mean. He didn't even know that wasn't the song that Kelly had sung. So Kelly sang the national anthem. A 16-year-old girl before her had sung God Bless America, and this Twitter user tweeted that it was the absolute worst version of God Bless America that they had ever heard. Okay, well, that's great, but Kelly's response was great. She said, "I didn't actually sing that song today, but the 16-year-old girl that did nailed it. Also, think about the fact that you signed in online and took the time to drag a 16-year-old girl. Really think about it. Think about it, because you're showing the worst side of you, and I have faith that you're cooler than this." She was actually nice. No, I mean, she could have turned around and responded in kind. She stated her piece. She said it wasn't appropriate, that that was terrible, but she gave the person credit that she thinks they are cooler than that. Most of us might not have been so graceful about that. Most of us might have just nailed that person and not had any, kind of responded in kind. Nailed the person, not had anything nice to say, not had any positive in there at all, which is what the original tweet was. I don't know. So I just think Kelly Clarkson is an amazing person. I think she's incredibly talented, of course, but she always comes across as extremely likable when I encounter her in the universe of the internet. Obviously, I'm not encountering her in real life, because I definitely am not that cool. Speaking of the Indy 500, Matt Damon and Christian Bale were there promoting their new movie. I actually knew that they were there before I saw this online, and that was because a friend of mine was there and posted a picture of them, sort of. So she took a picture. Obviously, she was nowhere close to where they were sitting, but she took a picture and said that they were having a great time. And I couldn't tell that they were in that picture, but she posted those pictures, and I was like, oh, okay. And then didn't really think much more about it. They were there to wave the green flags, which mark the beginning of the race, and also to promote their new movie, which is Ford versus Ferrari, and that is based on a true story of Ford's quest to defeat Ferrari at the 24-hour of Le Mans in the 1960s. So the picture that I'm seeing online, not the picture that my friend posted, but the picture that I'm seeing online shows them smiling and clapping and looking like they're having a great time and wearing sunglasses, because everyone looks great in sunglasses. So it looks like they had a great time at the Indy 500. We are going to take our first break of the podcast. When we come back, we will be talking about some movie news. Before we go to break, though, I do want to talk to you about Care Of, the vitamin subscription service I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. And as I said, Care Of is a vitamin subscription service, delivers vitamins, protein powders, supplements directly to your door, which is great. If you're not sure what kind of vitamins you might need in your life, or you're looking to broaden your knowledge and taking of vitamins, you just have to go take their online quiz. It is quick, it's intuitive, it's only 5 minutes, just a few questions, and they ask you about your health goals and what you're looking for in terms of, vitamins, supplements, etc. Are you getting enough sleep? Do you need iron? Those types of things. What are your exercise goals? What are your eating habits, etc. And then they customize a plan just for you, and it's mailed directly to your door, which is awesome. You don't have to leave the house. You can do it in your PJs. You can pick them up in your PJs because they come right to your door. And so the quiz is easy and it is efficient. They give you recommendations, but if there's things that you would really like to take that they don't recommend, you can add those to your order. And they offer not only protein powder in the larger container, but they offer individual packets. So if you want them for on the go, you can take those. They have individual packets of things like chia and flaxseed, which are in those on the go packets of maca for energy, all kinds of great stuff. I really like the individual packets because I can just chuck that in my bag when I'm heading out, add it to my drink later in the day, and they even have vegan and vegetarian supplement options to match your dietary needs if that is something that you need. So love it. They have a great service, and like I said, you take the quiz, they deliver your packet, your personalized package of vitamins directly to your door. All you have to do to take the quiz is go to takecareof.com, and for a limited time, if you enter the promo code entertainment30, you'll get 30% off of your first order. That's a pretty big deal. So again, go take the online quiz, go to takecareof.com and enter the promo code entertainment30. We are going to take that break now, so stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and we will be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. We were speaking before the break of some celebrity sightings around the internet, I guess, maybe. around. It wasn't really around the world. They were all in the United States. Some celebrity news, if you will. And want to turn our attention to movies, which are a form of entertainment, an excellent form of entertainment, I believe. I love movies. It's Memorial Day weekend, which is, of course, a holiday set aside to commemorate and remember those who serve, especially those who have died serving our country. So it's always kind of strange to me when people say Happy Memorial Day weekend, because we are remembering there's such a solemn reason behind the holiday, a solemn reason that we get a 3-day weekend. But strangely enough, it's also kind of the beginning, not strangely enough, it is also kind of the beginning of summer. You know, lots of schools are already out, or they're about to let out. It's big weekend for barbecues and parties, and kind of just kicking off the summer, which means that it also is kicking off that summer blockbuster movie time. So it is known to be a big weekend for movie openings. One of the movies that opened this weekend is the live action. Is it a remake? I guess it'd be a remake of Aladdin, starring Will Smith as the genie. And this weekend it has topped the weekend box office. Depends on how things go, but it does have a good chance of joining those strong Memorial Day weekend openings. It's doing really well so far. It is in the top 10 openings from just 3 days, but what about the top 5? Do you know what the top 5 Memorial Day weekend opening movies are? Did that make sense? No, it didn't. The top 5 movies that have opened on Memorial Day weekend. This is the current top 5. Of course, this list is always going to be changing, and this list covers just the domestic box office from the 4-day Memorial weekend openings in their respective years. So what do we have? We have coming in at number 5, we have X-Men: Days of Future Past. Opening weekend, it made $110,576,604. And the X-Men franchise is popular. It just keeps going. You know, this was the one that we got to see younger X-Men and what was going on. There's a new one coming out, of course. Dark Phoenix is coming out in a couple of weeks, so this franchise is going strong. Lots of comic book franchises are going strong. It came out in 2013. It was the sequel to X-Men First Class, and it did really, really well that weekend. Number 4, another franchise, Fast and Furious 6. Opening weekend, it made $117,036,995. I have a confession to make to you. I have never seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. I know people love them. I don't have anything against them. I just never got into this franchise. And now there are, I don't even know, are there 8 of them or something? So maybe one day I will have to sit down and have a Fast and Furious marathon and see what all the fuss is about, because I know that people really like them. They weren't exactly critically acclaimed in the beginning, but then as they went on, they were more embraced by critics. So this is a franchise that seems to be going strong, and it definitely, number 6, did well that opening weekend, coming in at number 4. Number 3, another X-Men movie, The Last Stand, which came out in 2006. Opening weekend, it made $122,861,157. And really, clearly, franchises, sequels, what have you, are blockbusters and when they come out on Memorial Day weekend or whenever they come out. So really, if you've got a franchise that's doing well, just keep going. The Last Stand was the 3rd movie in the X-Men film series, directly following X2. Again, it came out in 2006. Faced some mixed reviews, which tends to happen with a second movie in a franchise, because especially when the first one's really, really popular and really well acclaimed, then the standards and the expectations are set really high for the next one. And often if you have a trilogy, the second movie in a trilogy is kind of that transitional one, and so people and critics don't always like it as well, because it is that transitional piece, and so you're kind of just in the middle of the story, and a lot of stuff happens, but not a lot of stuff gets resolved. So at least that's my take on it. Number 2, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Wow. I am surprised. I had no idea, actually. Opening weekend, it made $126,917,373. Another franchise. This is the 4th one in the Indiana Jones movie series. And there were high hopes for it, of course. It had been a long time since they had done one, so people weren't really sure what to expect. It came out in 2008, and yeah, we'll see. So definitely not my favorite Indiana Jones movie. It's not one I saw it. I love the Indiana Jones franchise, but this was certainly not my favorite. So I was surprised that it did. People were certainly curious and went to see it opening weekend, and it comes in at number 2, so it did really well. Number 1. Pirates of the Caribbean. Which one? Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which is the 3rd film in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Not a single standalone movie breaking the Memorial Day weekend box office top 5. It came out in 2007. Its opening weekend was $139,802,190. And this, to date, is the film that has made the most money opening over Memorial Day weekend to date. We will see what it takes to knock this one off the top. Again, it came out in 2007, so it's held that top position for a while. Critics weren't thrilled, but fans embraced this 3rd one, and it, of course, opened with a great weekend. So it's still placed 3rd on the list of pirate movies, which cracked, in terms of its worldwide totals, it made $963 million and some change, which came in behind Dead Man's Chest and On Stronger Tides, which both cracked $1 billion worldwide. So had a great opening weekend, but still didn't make as much in the long run as those first 2. So franchises. What have we learned here? We have learned that if you have a franchise, you should definitely have that movie come out Memorial Day weekend and see how it does, because chances are good that it will do really, really well. We'll see how Aladdin might fare. It's, of course, not part of a franchise per se, although it is definitely in that Disney world, and it is a remake. So not a sequel, but a remake. And I know people are intrigued. I am intrigued to see how the movie is and how it does, how it's received, etc. So there you go, your top 5 Memorial Day weekend movies so far. We'll see how that list evolves over time. In the meantime, we are going to take our second break of the podcast. When we come back, we'll be switching from movies to music with a little bit of news from the music world. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. We so far have talked about some celebrity news. We have talked about some movie news and the top grossing opening weekend movies over Memorial Day weekend. Why I can't say that, I don't know. But you know what I mean. Hopefully you figured that out from the last segment. As I said before the break, we are going to move on now to some music news, starting with a story that comes from the world of K-pop, a world that I knew nothing about until recently. We had a former show host who was on the Social Media News podcast, and she actually introduced me to the world of K-pop. She is a huge fan, and so that was good. I like learning new things. I did not know about it. It's kind of I'm going to butcher it if I try to explain what it is, but my understanding is that it is kind of like boy bands and girl bands, but whereas I think of boy bands as like 4 to 5 people, these can have like 12, which I find fascinating. Now, that is extremely generalized. Do not yell at me and send me mail saying you have no idea what you're talking about. I know, but it is pop music that comes out of Korea. So you're not going to understand the words if you listen to it because it is in Korean. If you want to learn Korean, that might be a good way to learn some pop culture and slang terms, or if you already speak Korean. So it's an interesting genre, and Korea is a pretty conservative country. So being a gay performer in this genre is uncommon, or if it is common, being an out gay performer is uncommon. But there is one performer, Korean singer Holland, who is hoping that by bringing a new voice to the K-pop scene that he can make an impact, that he can make a difference, that he can help to normalize this as, just something that is in the world. So he has been out in about a year and a half, been entertaining. He has gained a sizable following, and he's making his way in the world on his own for now, according to the article that I read. He does have a business partnership with a tour provider and says he's looking for an agency, but he stands out as a source of representation in the K-pop world, where relationships are idealized in song, and fandom spaces where same-sex quote-unquote shipping, which is where you put people into relationships that you put people that you want to see in relationships together. Often it happens with TV shows or movies where fans see characters that they really want to see in relationships, so they are shipping them. But shipping is a key factor behind a lot of fandom behavior. Stars often suffer for actual romances, according to this article, and in the larger South Korean media scene, where heteronormativity dominates, this is a reflection of the generally more conservative nature of the country towards the LGBT community and equal rights. So Holland hopes that his existence as a performer will help to normalize LGBTQ storytelling in South Korean media. And with each release, beginning from his first song, Neverland, in January of 2018, to his most recent song, which came out in March and is nar_C, he is aiming to do just that. So I think this is great. I think it's wonderful to have representation in all forms of entertainment. Sometimes it's not easy. Clearly it is, it's a different world, the K-pop world. I don't have a strong understanding of South Korean culture, having never lived there, but I do know that it tends to be a little more conservative. So good for this young performer. He's 23, for putting himself out there, which can be a very scary thing, putting himself forward as an example, and just wanting to wanting to share himself with the world. So this one paragraph jumped out at me, and that is what inspired nar_C. And the answer is that the title refers to narcissism. I started with the concept of self-love, which is something that I have in all of my songs. I had a relationship for a long time, and through that I noticed both people became similar to one another. But I also noticed negative aspects of myself through it. In terms of loving myself, I want to show that through a relationship, you have to love yourself first and then love the other person. He sounds like he has a very good head on his shoulders. I think it's great. I wish him all the luck in the world, because it's never easy to be a trailblazer and to, again, really put yourself out there like this. So wish him all the luck. I will actually maybe check out some K-pop and see what his music is all about. I love the message behind it. So I'll go see if I like the music itself. So great. A little closer to home, we have news about Michael Bublé, one of my favorite performers. I love old school music anyway. I love musicals from the 50s and 60s. So I love Bing Crosby. I love Frank Sinatra, and Michael Bublé, of course, falls right into that category. He's got that smooth, sultry sound. And I really would, I'd watch a musical with Michael Bublé, although, musicals have changed. They still exist, but they aren't as popular as they once were, which makes me sad. But he has recently announced that he is going back to Australia on tour. And you might be thinking, well, okay, so what? But he's announcing his first Australian tour in 6 years, which is a long time. And that is because his son was diagnosed with cancer, his son Noah. And so it's been a while. He obviously took time off to be with his family, to be with his son as his son battled cancer. But he is going back to Australia. He will be kicking things off in Brisbane in February of 2020. And ahead of this tour, he did thank his Australian fans for their love and prayers over the past few years. Again, his family has been going through an extremely difficult time. Obviously, it's never easy for a family member to have cancer, but for a young child, that always breaks my heart. So anyway, when Noah was diagnosed with cancer, Michael and his wife, who is Argentinian actress Luisana Lopilato, were both put their careers on hold to obviously focus their attention on their son and their family. They also have another son, Elias, and a daughter, Vida. So thankfully, Noah was given the all clear in 2017, which is wonderful news. Michael's tour will, as I said, begin in Brisbane, and then he'll be heading to Sydney, Adelaide, and Perth. But he wanted to, again, thank his Australian fans. He is... I have to say, I love how international this story is. So Michael is Canadian, his wife is Argentinian. This story is about his tour in Australia. I love that. But anyway, he wanted to thank his Australian fans. He said, "Hey, Australia, I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you how much I love you and how much it meant to me through all of my family has been through." He continued, "The love, the outpouring, the prayers, you have no clue, no idea how you got us through every day." He just seems like such a gracious person, and he added that his fans have been a great blessing to his family, and he can't wait to show that gratitude by performing on stage. He has had 5 number 1 albums in Australia, so he is clearly very popular there. He'll perform some of his hits, and I love the fact that he'll be performing with a 36-piece orchestra. So that is wonderful. If you're in Australia and you love Michael Bublé, then you should definitely get tickets, because he's coming to you early next year. So that is it for entertainment news. We've kind of touched on a variety of topics, but thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the GSMC Entertainment News Podcast. Hope you'll join me again next time when we will see what else is going on in the world of entertainment. Thanks.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast. part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.